This video will provide you with some linking words that you can use to add further ideas, to add extra information when you're, for example, mediating a text, or you're giving your reasons or your possible consequences. For example, if in a mediation task you have to give a number of tips or some pieces of advice to somebody, or if you're explaining your reasons, some causes, consequences of effects of something, then perhaps it might be a good idea to try and avoid using words such as and or also, which are perhaps too basic. Imagine, for example, that you had to give somebody a number of tips to learn a language. There are a number of linking words that you can use in all contexts somehow, because they have a sort of neutral register. They can be used in everyday conversation, but they don't sound too informal, so it's a sort of neutral term, okay? So you could start by saying, don't worry about not understanding everything, just try to understand the main idea. Besides, you should listen to as much English as you can, even if you're not paying close attention. Then you add an extra tip. Together with that, you ought to find people to speak that language with. And on top of that, try to use whatever language you may know, regardless of mistakes, not worrying about mistakes. So these three linking words, besides, together with that, on top of that, allow you to add these extra ideas instead of saying also, 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 also. Another neutral tone linking word might be as well or as well as. You use as well as when you use it in the middle of a sentence, but you use as well when you use it towards the end. You could say, for example, you should read as many texts as you can, as well as listen to the radio or podcasts. So you're joining two ideas here, read texts and listen to the radio. So because you're using the middle, read as many texts as you can, as well as listen. Or you could say, you can join an online speaking group as well. And you have to use this at the very end of a sentence. Don't use it at the beginning, it doesn't sound too natural. Together with those, there are some other formal linking words. So if I keep using my example, I could say that there are a number of strategies you can use. To start with, you can study for 5 or 10 minutes every day. Moreover, you can practice your pronunciation through online dictionaries and websites. That should be your pronunciation. Furthermore, you should pay attention to the pronunciation of words and expressions when you're watching TV shows. In addition, you can write down any new expressions that you find interesting. Or in addition to this, you can write down, or additionally, these three mean essentially the same. Besides those, there are some other linking words that sound slightly more informal. Not terribly informal, but slightly more informal than the previous ones. So you can use them, for example, when you're speaking, when you're mediating in speaking, or when you're writing not so formal type of texts. So you could say, these tips will help you improve your English. What's more, you will enjoy the experience of learning and practicing it. That's a nice word as well, but as I say, slightly more informal than the previous ones. I hope you could see then some ways to join these ideas together rather than with a simple also. These were my bits and bobs today.